Church, amen. Certainly we are thankful to the Almighty God who blessed us again to be able to come and to worship Him in spirit and in truth. We pray that we trust we do to say something, be encouraging for all of us on this day. I want to thank all the ones who have participated this far and carried on the service. I want to thank Brother Adrian for the scripture reading. I want to thank Brother Cyrus for the prayer. I want to thank Brother Simpson for those wonderful hymns. And when I look at this this morning, I see that, like what Brother Cyrus said in his prayer, God is still in control. That's what Ezekiel is talking about. Right. God is still in control. Here, Brother Simpson backed it up by saying, hold on to God's unchanging hand. So a lot of people may be turning God's hand loose right now. There's no greater time than to hold on to an unchanging hand. In this time of uncertainty, we know that God is certain. And that's whose hand I'm going to hold on to, is God's unchanging hand. God knows the results of, He knows how everything is going to come out. There's no doubt in my mind. And you know, this studying Ezekiel just helped me to see that even clearer, you know. And that's why some of the things that we're dealing with in life, and as you read everything, you say, it don't seem like this might have nothing to do with what's going on, but I can relate. That's why I always say it's relevant. It's pertaining right now. God's word, no matter where you're at, is always relevant to time, because God's word is infallible. It don't make no mistakes. So let's look at this text just for a little while in Ezekiel chapter 1. And let's look at verses number 15, or verse number 26 rather, around to about verse number 28. Ezekiel chapter 1, verses 26 through 28. And it reads as, and above the firmaments that was over their head was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man upon it. And I saw the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about within it, from the appearance of his loins even upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward. I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and it has brightness round about it, as the appearance of the bow, that is the cloud in the days of rain. So was the appearance of the brightness round about. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. And when I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake. I want to use this morning for a subject, the God above the cloud. The God above the cloud. In ancient times, so many people served a God beneath the cloud by making their own gods and creating their own God. But they need to know something about the God above the expansion, the God above the clouds. And if they know about the God above the clouds, they know about who's in control of everything. Ezekiel saw this vision. This vision had 4 parts. We read last week dealing with the creatures, the creatures. You remember we talked last week, the 4 faces. You remember how they had a face with a man in the front representing intelligence, and we had a lion on the right representing strength and power, and we had an ox on the left representing servitude and how God served, and we had an eagle in the back representing God did. And we compared and paralleled that with the 4 Gospels. We talked about how John presented him as a lion, how Matthew presented him as a lion, and we talked about how Mark presented him as the ox, as a servant, and we talked about Luke presenting him as a great, perfect human, a great humanitarian, and we talked about, John talked about the deity of God, saying that God, Jesus Christ, is the Son of God. So this figure, this intricate figure, this complex figure that was given to them in this image, they was wondering, what do all this mean? This chariot with these wheels on it, these tall, and you know how these young folk got these big rims on these cars, but let me tell you, this chariot has some big wheels on it. And these wheels, it had eyes all in the wheel, and this very complex war machine. You see, back then, kings thought they were powerful. And what the ancient kings did, they surrounded themselves with images representing power. But here's the image here that nobody can understand. Nobody have ever seen. This image here is nothing that the finite minds could really comprehend, because this image comes from God. And it represented so many things that they needed to understand. And what it was is that Ezekiel, you remember what we said? That Ezekiel means God is strong. Somebody will listen. And God strength. God is strong and God strength. So they was taken by Babylon into captivity. And they, you know how one could get discouraged when they have been defeated. And you look at how when one has been defeated, they've been disgraced, been discouraged, and in a sense, they needed some type of hope. And in their mind, they thought God was confined to Jerusalem in the temple. But God is not God just in Jerusalem. God is God in Babylon. And what it is God took this image, and this image can travel. And when you read all of this image, I'm going to tell you, is like nothing that I ever seen in this society on this planet. This image, what way it was described, is like it could go any direction without turning. It could just go here, go there, go. It could go anywhere without turning. And the big picture of this is the omni of God. That means God is all powerful, all knowing, and all present. God is, that's what those eyes in that rim representing that wheel, this wheel, it represented God is omniscient, God is omnipresent, God is everywhere, God sees all things, God knows all things, so God knows where you're at right now. Right. God knows what's going on in Muskogee. God knows what's going on in China. God knows what's going on in California. God is everywhere at the same time. You see, we can only be at one place at one time, physically. We can say we can be here, our mind be somewhere else and all that, but you can only be at one place at one time. And when you're there, that's where you're at. But God is everywhere at the same time. Can you see that? All across from the East Coast to the West Coast, from New York to California, God is everywhere. Then that's how I know. And that's what gives me all the confidence about God, who he really is. And let's look at what God is in this text here. Let's look at who God is and what God can do. We're talking about here the omni of God, and we're talking about God above the clouds. Then we look at God is fierce. God is in his radiance. You see, all these colors, Did anybody, if you might remember this movie that was said to be one of the greatest and based upon a true story of all time, and they called it, and it was the Titanic. You remember that? Well, in that movie, at the end, or in the beginning somewhere, this woman had a jewel that was worth so much money. It was, I think it was blue, sapphire, kind of like what made me think about how rubies, how valuable they were, and what God is showing in all these colors of amber and these sapphire, all this brilliant crystal like diamonds and rubies, and God is showing the most brilliant thing that one could ever describe in Ezekiel vision. So here, he wanted them to see, most of all, who God was when they have been defeated, when they have been displaced. You see, they've been defeated by sin. And that's why they was in this mess. But by the way, rebellious and sin and wickedness was the reason that they was in. Did you know that? That's the reason that they was in Babylon. And they were saying, well, if God got his children in Babylon, he must not be God. God is why they're there, because that was their chastisement. See, God was in control. God can defeat any army. And that's what this represented, this watch, this heavenly chariot. You know what that is? When you put all this together, this is a heavenly chariot. And when you look at the heavenly chariot, he was saying there's no king that Babylon, the Medes and the Persians, there's no king that can defeat God. Because he got a powerful chariot. Go in any direction and do anything of these cherubims. They were powerful and they represented the four corners of the earth. When they have all of their wings touching on all the four corners, God got the whole world covered. Right? And we need to understand what it, and we say, what do all this mean in Ezekiel? What is all this stuff about chariot and sapphire? You see, all scriptures is given by the inspiration of God. It is proper for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good work. Paul said in Romans like this in the Roman letter, Romans 15:4, whatsoever are written aforetime was written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scripture might have hope. I'm getting my hope from all of this, that I understand who God is. He's omnipresent, he's omniscient, and he's omnipotent. That's what that throne is about. Above all these expansions, you see a throne in this vision that he saw. Above everything, God, Brother Cyrus Jr., still sits on the throne. He's still in control. And he said it in his prayer. And the thing about it, he's still in control. I noticed that Noah saw the rainbow after the storm. John saw the rainbow before the storm. Ezekiel saw the rainbow while the storm. So you hear, God knows before time, God knows after time, God knows all the time, and God is the one, when we looked back the other week in the book of Mark, how God has power over diseases, power over death, power over demons, power over destruction. Destruction can be a storm, and God got power over everything, and he sits on the throne. God is still ruling. And you know what? If we don't get anything else, I want us to understand that the rainbow, it don't represent what folks saying it represents today, dealing with lesbian and gay. That's not what the rainbow original meaning is. It's not about the leprechaun when you talk about the Boston Celtics. It's not about the Boston Celtics where they got this little leprechaun mascot and all of this. But you have to know the original of the rainbow. And you remember when that flood came, and it talks about in this text, the rain is talking about Noah. After all of this, represent this and represent all this stuff that folk coming up with. But the rainbow represents God is faithful. And you know what? God don't change. God is going to stick to what he always has a plan, and God is going to stick to what he said. God is faithful. That's what that rainbow really means. If you believe that God is faithful, and you notice here where, and I like the idea of this chariot. And you know what I thought about this chariot? I thought about another prophet. When Elisha was taken away on a chariot, appearing like a chariot. And I don't know if it's the same, but it made me thought about when God needs to come get you. God can come get his servant. It means that to me, God can rescue you. God has the honor. God has the power. God is everywhere. God knows what you're going through. God knows when you're going through. God knows where you're going through. God knows everything. And if God needs to come get you and rescue you, God can come get you and rescue you. God is faithful. I'm talking about the God above the cloud. I don't know about all these other gods, folks make with images and all those things. They can't do nothing because you're more powerful than your God. If you carve out a man, if you carve out a bull, if you carve out a goat, if you carve out a snake, you're more powerful than that God because you made that God. But I'm talking about the God above the clouds, the God that gives me breath. The reason that I live, move, and have my very own being. I'm talking about the God, the creator of heaven and earth. I'm talking about the real God who sits on the throne. And I know that these supposed to be sermonettes, and I'm trying to make them sermonettes, but this stuff gets good to me sometimes, and I'm almost through. I just want you to know God is a God above the clouds. Right. And God is a God who's omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. That omnipotent. He's all powerful. That's what that throne means. He's all powerful. And he can do anything. Right. And he can help you, whatever. And I know if you turn on the news, everything is focused on Corona. But there's more things going on in the world than Corona that people are dealing with. And we have to understand that some people are dealing with something more serious than Corona. If they're dealing with something even more serious, and there's all kinds of problems in life. And I know this is a serious thing. And the thing about it, take it serious. Be as careful as you can. But always know that God is still in control. And this is my last point, and I'll be through. I looked at something about how he talked about the voice of God. He gives some theophany of some illustrations about the voice of God, like the waters. And you ever heard water, how loud they can get? If you ever go up sometime during these hard rains and you go up to the Fort Gibson, I'm sure if you go to the Niagara Falls, you can see how loud water can get. If you've been on some of these seas where the ocean rather, where this water can get real high, you can hear these loud sounds. And this sound was talking like this is the voice of God. And God's voice, whenever you hear God's voice, we ought to realize that this is what we need to be listening to. Look for me in Psalms chapter 29. And I'm almost through. The book of Psalms chapter 29. Even when you look at, you don't have to go there, but go and turn to Psalm 29. But when I think about how God integrated Job with his voice in Job chapter 40 and verse number 9. You all go read that sometime. How God integrated Job in Job 40 and 9. But I want to show you one of the most elaborate pictures of God and of his voice in Psalms 29 was the voice of God. Psalm 29 and begin with verse number 1, if you will.
Give unto the Lord.
Give unto the Lord what?
O ye mighty.
O ye mighty what?
Give unto the Lord glory and strength.
Give unto the Lord glory and strength. Read.
Give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name.
Give unto the Lord the glory due unto him. What?
Worship the Lord in the beauty of his holiness.
Worship the Lord in the beauty of his holiness. Read.
The voice of the Lord is upon the water.
The voice. Listen to the voice. The voice of the Lord is upon the waters. Read.
The God of glory thunder.
The cloud of glory and thunder. Read.
The Lord is upon many waters.
The Lord is upon many waters. Read. And I like the way Isaiah talks about God holding the water in the hollow of his hand. Can you imagine? Most of the world is of water. The Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, all these oceans. God holds all these oceans in the hollow of his hand. Don't tell me that's not omnipotent. Read.
The voice of the Lord is powerful.
The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is powerful. And it's saying that's the only way man can be saved is by listening to the words of God. John chapter 12 and verse number 48. He that rejected me and receiveth not my word, the same word that I have spoken, the same shall be judged in the last day. The words of God is powerful. Read.
The voice of the Lord is full of majesty.
The voice of the Lord. I'll tell you how powerful he was. Read.
The voice of the Lord breaks the sea.
The voice of the Lord breaks the sea. You ever see that? You see how these tornadoes and these hurricanes, the tornadoes rather, just tear up everything.
Right.
I mean, the cedar tree, when you talk about the trees of Lebanon, the great giant tree, you think you see some big trees here. That's the trees that I read about in the Bible will probably make 5 of these trees, or maybe even more than that. The trees of Lebanon. God can split them like a toothpick. Pick them up and move them like a toothpick. Read.
The Lord breaketh the cedar of Lebanon.
Read.
He maketh them all to skip.
He maketh them all to skip what?
Like a cat.
And so in other words, we know the power of God. And what I want you to see, remember now, the God above the clouds is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and he still sits on the throne. His voice is powerful. He can tell the storm, peace, be still. And that means that it's like muzzling a dog. You put a muzzle on him, he can't do it. He muzzle it, and that's the way he can do a storm. Muzzle a storm. Right? God, voice. You can continue to read that some other time, but I just want you to know the power of the voice of God. Hear the gospel, Romans 10:17. Believe with all your heart, Hebrews 11:6. Repent of your sin, Luke 13:3. Confess that Jesus is the Son of, confess that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, Matthew 10:32. And be willing to be baptized, for in Acts 2:38. Where Peter preached that first gospel sermon to the fullness. Repent and be baptized, every one of you, for the remission. Not some of you, but every one of you, for the remission of your sin. Everyone that's of the accountability. Every one of you for the remission of your sin. If you're such as invitation, when I come, always stand and be willing to be baptized. I mention that. So if you're such as invitation, when I come, always stand. The same song invitation.